Okay, so now that I added marker and applied it to all of the dark areas, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tape this back onto the window in registration with my original value drawing. So that way I can go ahead and trace the middle values. So I'm matching up the corners because that's kind of like my registration guide. Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and trace the middle values. So I have to figure out what's going to be white when I do this. And then what's going to be gray. You can always leave more white if you're like not sure, and then fill it in if it ends up being too much or not correct. You can always err on that side of things. If you feel like you're going to get confused as to what you should be filling in as gray and what you should be leaving as like your white, you can just put like little letters in there. And then that kind of helps. And then you can either just like erase them before you add the marker, or if your marker's dark enough, you can just go over them. In some cases, you might have a lot of gray and not a lot of white, and maybe you end up like kind of adding more contrast in the area and adding kind of white highlights in places. You can really use your discretion at this point. Or you might have to go back to the original still life and kind of tidy things up too. That happens sometimes. Okay, so now I'm applying marker to the light values, and then I'll go into the middle values. So the light values, I'm using a marker that is a lighter color. And then the middle values, I'll use like a middle color. And so I'm blocking in all of the highlight areas, all the light values. Now I'm going in with the middle value and blocking that in, making sure that the marker goes along with the contour, making sure that it's applied nice and evenly. You could do this also with paint as well, anything that's going to be a nice solid flat color. I decided in the drapery to do pink for my middle tone. So I did make a mistake and do some green in those areas for the middle tone, and then I went over it with the pink, and you can pretty much tell where that happened. It does not make a very nice color when those markers overlap. You'll also notice that I'll go into the cast shadow on the right-hand side of the apple, and I will add pink over top of that just to kind of change it a little bit. So these are all things that this practice step of doing it in marker helps you to figure out.